Are you still checking your bank account before deciding if you can afford a $3 wrapper side of guacamole? You earn $38,000 a year and more than a third of all full-time Americans, yet a tiny expense at Chipotle triggers an immediate stress response. Meanwhile, a peer your exact age just booked a last-minute flight to Austin without even looking at the price. This isn't luck. It's a specific, measurable income threshold that separates constant anxiety from true financial security. In this video, we will reveal the exact dollar amount you need to stop living in fear. We are dissecting Marcus's finances across 5 income levels to expose the tax traps and benefits cliffs that keep the middle class broke. I will show you the precise tipping point where your money finally starts growing on its own. How old are you, and what is the number one bill keeping you awake at night? Let's comment below. To understand where you stand, we must first burn the map the media has given you. Most people fundamentally miscalculate their position on the income ladder. The median household income in the United States currently sits at $83,730. Understand that this is a collective number. This is not the lone wolf. This is the entire pack under one roof combining their labor. If you are an individual full-time worker, the median is approximately $62,000. When a couple claims they are doing fine because they cracked SEX figures together, they are not describing wealth. They are describing the exact center of the herd. They are the median. They are the target of every institutional extraction mechanism designed by the system. Pew Research categorizes 30% of Americans in low-income households earning under $56,000. The core middle class is a wide, often stagnant band between $75,000 and $125,000. Only a rare 10% of households ever touch the $250,000 mark. But here is the truth that Wall Street keeps in the dark. 42.8% of American households now earn over $100,000. By the numbers, America looks comfortable. By the reality of the balance sheet, it is bleeding out. Geography is the first invisible tax. Smart asset data proves that a $100,000 salary in Manhattan possesses the actual purchasing power of $30,362. You are doing the work of an executive and receiving the lifestyle of a retail clerk. The same paycheck in 2 different zip codes creates 2 different species of human. The question we must solve today is this: at what precise point does the physics of your money change from friction to velocity? Let us begin with Marcus at the base of the mountain. Marcus is 29 years old, working logistics in the suburbs of Atlanta. He earns $38,000 a year. This is what we call Tier 1, the friction of survival. After the government takes its pound of flesh through federal, state, and FICA taxes, Marcus is left with $2,375 a month. In physics, friction is the force that resists motion. At this income level, every dollar Marcus earns is under attack by the friction of fixed costs. Rent in the Atlanta suburbs for a modest one-bedroom claims $1,100 immediately. Utilities take another $175. Marcus must own a car. Between a used car payment, insurance, and fuel, another $650 vanishes. Groceries on the most disciplined USDA thrifty plan cost $370. Add a phone, internet, health insurance premiums, and student loans on an income-driven plan, and his total monthly overhead hits $2,845. Marcus is running a $470 deficit every month. But look closer at the human cost. At $38,000, Marcus stops answering his phone when his mother calls. He knows her voice will carry that subtle, heartbreaking tremor of concern. He knows she will ask, "Are you eating enough?" And he will have to lie. The silence in his apartment is not peace, it is the sound of an empty wallet. He skips the team lunch not because he is focused on work, but because $17 for a burger is a 3-day calorie deficit. At this level, Marcus is not a citizen, he is a harvest. The system collects its yield through overdraft fees and payday loans. Being poor is the most expensive thing you can be in America. Pause for a moment. Look at Marcus. Do you see a victim of circumstance Or do you see a builder who has yet to master the laws of the game? Are you currently in a position where the system is harvesting you, or have you already begun to build your fortress? Tell us in the comments, are you a builder or are you still in the system? 5 years pass. Marcus grinds his way to $65,000. This should be a victory. His take-home pay is now $4,252. But here, Marcus hits the first hidden trap of the American economy, the benefits cliff. At $38,000, Marcus qualified for certain tax credits and perhaps a local subsidy for his health insurance. Now earning $65,000, he has crossed a phantom threshold. The system suddenly decides he is rich. He loses his earned income tax credits. His health insurance premiums at work jump because he no longer qualifies for the lower tier subsidy. His student loan payments, tied to his income, double. Marcus earned a $27,000 raise, but after the loss of subsidies and the move into a higher tax bracket, his actual lifestyle barely moves. He moves to a slightly safer apartment for $1,350. He upgrades to a car that doesn't threaten to break down every Tuesday. His groceries move from survival to moderate. He finally has $642 of surplus, but this is Tier 2, the fragility of the middle. If he is disciplined, he puts half into a 401k to capture the employer match. This leaves him with $317 a month for savings. At this velocity, it will take Marcus 17 months to build a basic 3-month emergency fund, assuming the universe remains perfectly still for a year and a half. It will not. A single $800 repair bill doesn't just cost money, it resets the entire clock of his progress. He is forced back to the credit card. The system didn't remove the trap, it just padded the edges. Now Marcus makes the leap to the legendary six figures, $100,000, the milestone that society treats as the finish line. His take-home pay jumps to $6,158 a month. This is Tier 3, the middle-class dead zone. For the first time, Marcus experiences the absence of financial dread. This is the entire product of a $100,000 salary, the ability to sleep through the night. He can build a 6-month emergency fund in less than a year. He can say no to things. But here is the reality slap. Last October, the shipping company Marcus works for announced a massive restructuring. Marcus was not laid off, but his bonus was canceled and his health insurance deductible was raised to $5,000. 2 weeks later, a routine medical scan revealed a complication. Suddenly, Marcus is staring at a $6,000 bill. Because Marcus reached $100,000, he stopped living like he was at $38,000. He bought the house with the $1,800 mortgage, he leased the car, he enrolled in the premium gym. His fixed costs have expanded to consume his new income. Despite earning 6 figures, Marcus realizes he is still only 2 missed paychecks from total insolvency. This is the truth the system hides. A high salary without a rigid structure is just a higher altitude crash. If you do not control the friction of your lifestyle, $100,000 is just $38,000 with better scenery. Marcus survives the scare and lands a senior role at $150,000. This is Tier 4, the tipping point of sovereignty. His take-home pay is $8,830. The math, for the first time in his life, stops being a predator and starts being a partner. His fixed costs now consume only a fraction of his energy. He has a surplus of over $3,000 a month. He can max his 401k, fund a backdoor Roth IRA, and still have money left to pour into a taxable brokerage. In 5 months, he can build a fortress of an emergency fund that makes him unfireable. His decision-making framework shifts from, "Can I afford this?" to, "Do I actually want this?" At $150,000, the physics of his wealth changes from friction to velocity. This is the level where your dollars begin to have children. Compounding wealth building doesn't happen in the basement of survival. It requires the oxygen of margin. A 35-year-old at this level who automates $1,000 a month into a boring index fund is looking at $2.2 million by retirement. Not because of luck, but because the fixed costs of being a functioning adult finally stopped consuming the fuel required for the launch. There was a time in your life when a single bill could have ruined you. Maybe that time is today. We have all felt the weight of that phantom debt, the shame of the declined card. What is the one financial fear you are currently keeping silent? Sharing it here doesn't make you weak. It makes you a builder looking for a blueprint. Tell your story below. But there is a final tier that represents the ultimate test of human psychology. Tier 5, the high earner trap. Marcus is now an executive earning $500,000 a year. On paper, he is the elite. In reality, he has traded his soul for a balance sheet. Goldman Sachs data reveals a shocking U-curve in American financial stability. Among those earning $200,000 to $300,000, only 16% live paycheck to paycheck. This is the sweet spot. But when you cross into the $500,000 bracket, the paycheck to paycheck rate jumps back up to 40%. Marcus now lives in a $4,000 a month mortgage. His kids are in private schools costing $80,000 a year. He only flies business. He has entered the world of status Darwinism. But here is the emotional tax. Marcus has not seen his daughter's soccer games in 3 months. He missed her lead role in the school play because he was closing a deal in Singapore. He has a 7-figure net worth on paper, but he is a ghost in his own home. He has bought a life he does not have the time to live. At $38,000, Marcus couldn't answer the phone because he was too poor. At $500,000, he can't answer the phone because he is too busy. The tragedy is the same. He is still trading his life force for digits on a screen. He has built a gold-plated prison where the walls are made of Range Rover leases and country club memberships. This is the most lethal trap of all. At $45,000, you spend everything because you must. At $500,000, you spend everything because your brain has reclassified luxuries as survival requirements. Beyond the bank balance, there is a biological cost. Stanford research found that the wealthiest 1% of men live 14.6 years longer than the poorest 1%. Wealth is not just about Ferraris, it is biological armor. But that armor is useless if you are too exhausted to wear it. Everything we have discussed today leads to a single conclusion. The threshold of true financial sovereignty lies between $100,000 and $150,000 of household income. Below this line, you are a passenger in a system designed to harvest your labor. Above this line, you have the opportunity to become the architect of your own destiny. But remember the U-curve. The paycheck is merely the raw material. The structure is what determines the outcome. Financial security is not a destination you reach. It is a gap you maintain. It is the distance between what you earn and what you require to exist. If you allow that gap to close, no amount of income can save you. As for those of you still watching, here is the final hard truth of the day. The most dangerous number in your life is not your debt, it is your overhead. Most people spend their lives trying to increase their income to match their desires. The elite do the opposite. They keep their desires static while their income explodes. They buy their freedom first and their status last. If you are earning $150,000 but living like you earn $50,000, you are more powerful than a CEO earning $1 million who spends it all. True wealth is the ability to walk away from any room at any time. If you are ready to stop being a harvest and start being a builder, I want you to leave a comment with the secret password, I am sovereign. This tells me you have watched until the end and that you are ready to apply the structure required for true wealth. If this analysis provided you with the clarity you have been seeking, like this video and share it with one person who is currently trapped in the middle-class dead zone. Subscribe to channel for more deep dives into the mechanics of the elite. Now your next objective is clear. Do not close this tab and go back to scrolling. Your mission is waiting in the next video appearing on your screen right now. Go watch it, build the gap, secure your future. Welcome to the 1%.